We now go live to down in Eugene, where Dusty Harrah is wrapping up Ducks Media Day and wrapping up, all of the medias for all of the days, hopefully for the Big Ten, for the foreseeable future. Dusty, how did Ducks Media Day treat you?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I still wish I was back there with you guys on a Metal Monday. I thought we were going a little bit harder metal with a Dusty List Metal Monday, so I'm glad I got Lincoln Park on the way in. But Ducks Media Day was great down here. It was good to kind of finally see some of the new names and faces of the Oregon program front and center, and now a little bit more comfortable. You know, that's one of the awkward parts is, like, you got the transfer portal, and so guys like Jabbar Muhammad and Kobe Savage, who we didn't really get to hear too much from, now they're more comfortable down here, and they are finding their rhythm in the locker room with teammates and stuff like that, and you can tell there's just a new level of comfort with those guys, and so it's good to kind of connect and hear from them for the first time really ever.
What are our major storylines that are, I guess, being echoed through Ducks Media Day today?
Yeah, I mean, first is Lanning is officially in camp mode. It was the Yuck It Up Pat McAfee show, Coach Lanning. He is now in camp mode. You could tell he's ready to get this thing going. But I think a lot of that has to do with now that it's time to get things going, there's real expectations here. And it's something that I don't think any of these players or coaches are shying away from, is the fact that the expectations that have been heaped upon this team for 2024 by the media and the people who cover college football, they're expected to be a top 4 team. They're expected to enter the Big Ten and compete for a Big Ten title. And it's no longer, hey, we're going to get there, and we got to cross these T's and dot these I's. It's go time, and you can kind of feel that and sense that from the players and the coaches that it's business-like moving forward into 2024.
Lanning hopped on with Joel Klatt on Klatt's podcast, and we played a little bit of audio from that earlier. And he essentially said that one of their not necessarily their challenges, but one of the things they have to kind of overcome is recruiting locally is difficult because of Oregon and Washington not being necessarily the hotbeds. And he essentially said it in a way that bringing people from all over the country and having them kind of go through the same shared experiences, it almost sounded like he was saying trauma bonding in the same sense that the military kind of does with boot camps. Do you think that kind of has a little bit of bearing on how this group is kind of coming together?
No, I do, because if you look down the line and you look at guys that are going to be playing significant snaps from this Oregon Ducks roster this year, I mean, there aren't a lot of local guys. And I mean, you got Bryce Betcher on the defensive side of the ball, who is South Eugene native and two-sport athlete. And I got a chance to talk with him today, and he's an outstanding young man. Like, he blew me away. It was the first time I'd gotten a chance to talk to Bryce, and he was a great kid. But then you also Josh Connerly on the offensive side of the ball, and Charlie Pickard, who are Connerly from Washington and Pickard from Eugene. There aren't a lot of guys that are going to be playing a big role on this team that are local. And you look at where everybody else is from. You go Florida, South Carolina, Texas, Ohio, Illinois. Marcus Harper, talked to him today he's from Chicago. You do come from all over the place. And every single guy said, it was hard to get used to the rain. It's a different pace of life. There is a lot to that, in that, it's a melting pot, and everybody gets pulling in the same direction because, one, there's that familiarity of being at home, and, people that you grew up with and people you were around since the day you were born, they're thousands of miles away for a lot of these guys in a lot of cases. I think there is a big element to that where, it's almost the people that you're around the most are the ones that you're going to be connected to, because you don't have any relationships with anybody else. You don't have any shared experiences really with anybody else that's on this campus, because the rest of the student body is from Oregon and California, mostly. Mm-hmm. So there is not a whole lot of common ground, except for with the guys that came here for one reason and one reason only, to play football at the University of Oregon.
This time of year, there's always one or two guys that folks didn't expect to necessarily pop, whether it be through workouts, putting on weight, or showing up a step faster, or looking a little crisper, or a better understanding of the playbook? Who are the guys that are the early camp nominees for the guys to watch over the next couple weeks?
Boy, I think that the one thing that kind of kept popping out to me was chemistry in the secondary is big, and there's a lot of guys that are coming back, but a lot of new faces. You bring in guys like, Jabbar Muhammad from UW and Kobe Savage from Kansas State, and they come in with a level of hype around them. But I think that one thing that really stuck out to me was, guys saying like Tysheem Johnson. He's a guy that he played a big role, especially in that Utah game last year. But you sit there and you keep hearing names pop up again and again and again. I think he's one name to watch. I think Kenyon Sadiq is also another one, the tight end from Idaho, who was a freshman last year. He is an absolute load, and he's a unit. But I think what's interesting about this year and this kind of Oregon roster is that we have heard so much and seen so much about this roster because of, the attention that they have been getting on the national level, that I'm not sure how many guys are going to sneak up on people, because every name that I've said are guys that we've heard about and we've followed throughout the fall camp. But I would say if you're looking for guys that are going to play a huge role on this team this year, I think Kenyon Sadiq is a guy whose role will expand as the season goes on, because Terrence Ferguson is an outstanding tight end, Patrick Herbert as well. But the athleticism that Sadiq has, they can move him inside, outside. He can block, he can run, and he is a young buck. So I think that would be the name that I would be watching for.
One of the things when I look at this Oregon team, and you and I talked about this before you went down there this weekend, is Dan Lanning has done something to this program to where it feels like the expectations are so real that anything short of a college football playoff berth is a disappointment. Is that the line? Do you think that they'll never say it publicly, but do you think that is the line for the program?
Yeah, I do. I think that internally that is what they are thinking, and how they feel about this team is not just getting to the college football playoff, but winning games in the college football playoff. I think that is the goal. I mean, we got a 12-team playoff this year. You're in the Big Ten. You got a seat at the big boys table, and you have got a roster that is ready to go. And obviously, you're right. They're not going to come out and say that's our expectation of this year. They're going to give you the cliche week by week. We're just focused on Idaho, yada yada yada. But I do believe that if you're looking at where that bar is for this team, it is the college football playoff, and it's a high seed in the college football playoff. It's a first round bye, or you're one of the top seeds hosting in that opening round of the college football playoff. And I don't think they're going to duck or shy away from that, because I mean, that's what they've recruited guys on, is that's what you come here to do. And that's what the goal is when you come to Oregon. And, but they're not going to ever say that publicly to anybody, but we all know that's what they've used in recruiting.
With the Olympics going on right now, we've already seen some crossover where Chase Budinger has gone from the NBA to beach volleyball. I don't know if you've seen the video of Ant Edwards telling the women's U.S. table tennis team that he could get points off them. Who at camp right now
could not, by the way.
No, not a single point. Not a single point.
No.
It's a two-part question for you. Who at camp is the one person who thinks that they could beat another Olympian in their sport? And who is the most likely person to be able to compete in the Olympics in an event, and what event would it be?
Oh, boy. That's a loaded question there. I think the guy who probably thinks that he could compete in the Olympics, and I'd probably think at a variety of sports, Trayshawn Holden, the wide receiver, he is a very confident young man. And he is very athletic, and he's got a huge frame on him too. And I think he's probably the one that thinks that he could do it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that a guy that I think could actually compete in the Olympics is, oh boy. The one that I would go with is probably like Josh Connerly in like the shot put or something. I
Yeah.
mean, when you're that big, long, and you are strong like that,
The
I bet
explosion.
you, yeah, you could make him into a great shot putter. I think like 330 pounds at 6'4" or 5 or whatever he is, spinning around and launching a metal ball. I think he'd be really good at that. The other one I would go with is Bryce Betcher is he's a two-sport athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to start at linebacker at Oregon, and he was a Gold Glove winner in baseball and, drafted by the Astros. So he's just a really good athlete. So I don't know what he would do.
That's your Pat Connaughton Memorial Award right there.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Just such a good athlete. Like you'll find something.
Yeah, he'll do something. I think that like he's from Eugene, so it's like mountain biking. He's probably really good at. I don't know.
Some hacky sack. Yeah, the Olympic hacky sack is going to make the return, and we'll have breakdancing and hacky sack, and Eugene will just be thrilled.
Is slacklining a Olympic sport yet? How far off are we from that?
Last week we had the Ducks on for media day, and we had the talk of putting on weight. Who is the guy that is talked about right now as far as changing their body from last year to this year?
Gosh, that's a great question. They have they've been competing in the weight, like competition in the weight room, I guess, is like the biggest thing. Like they will. I was talking to Kobe Savage about this, and he said, like, you will literally be looking eye to eye with somebody holding a trap bar, and the first one to drop it, like at the end of their weight training session, the first one to drop it loses, and you're placed into groups. So like you can't lose. So everybody looks jacked. They've been getting after it in the weight room, but it's from a changing your body standpoint. I may go, Jordan Birch maybe.
Oh.
Jordan Birch looks long and like his arms are the size of tree trunks, but he's kind of leaned out in some other places too. He looks good, man. He's huge.
That's a thick boy.
Yeah, he's a thick boy.
When the thick boys start getting things under control, it looks a little more terrifying. All right, man, we're gonna let you go on that. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Yes, I will be in tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and I'm sure we'll get more of the news, notes, and stories from all over Duck Camp tomorrow when you get back to the building. And thanks for taking some time, and safe travels, man.
Love you guys. Bye.
Yep, buddy. That's Dusty Harrah down at Ducks Media Day. Remember, Dusty is the Ducks sideline reporter, and he will have you covered all season long for all of your Ducks coverage, as we will here on Today the Fan.